Welcome back, guys, to your Networth's Network. I'm your host, Corey McNabb, and today we have a special episode. All right, y'all have met Dimitry before, but we're going to bring him back up and we're going to talk to someone else, one of his partners, about how to get started in business. So let's bring him up. We got Dimitry, welcome, and TJ, welcome. How are y'all doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Glad to be on.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate y'all coming on today. Again, this is a special episode of the podcast. Really, what I'm looking to do is I want to get to know you, TJ, just a little bit, kind of figure out, how you got started in business, and really let's focus on people who want to do what you have done, right? So, again, as we know, we got Dimitry, founder of Spin Art Nation here, and Axe Master, which TJ, seems like you may be a partner in that, or maybe you own a franchise.
Yes, I own Axe Master Throwing in Grayson, Georgia. So I'm a franchise owner. Proud.
Gotcha. That's awesome. I like to hear it. Well, then, TJ, like, how long have you known Dimitri? When did this relationship start?
Well, I was just graduating college, so that was around 2018, around that time. I, and I met him just out looking for jobs. Now, in this bit of a situation that I was in, considering the circumstances, I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So I was out there with all of my resumes and looking to speak with managers, not some guy who works at the front who's just going to take my resume and put it aside. I wanted to shake hands with a manager. So it was interesting enough. I walked in on somebody's no-show interview, had my resume ready. I was already dressed. He was already ready for an interview, and I walked in on it, stole it, took the job. That is what I did to get, and that's how we met. It was just immediate uh, business working relationship, but we understood what each other was worth because, well, quite frankly, I told him what I was worth, and I tried to show him every single day that I'm worth more now, and just keep going from there. So it's been like that ever since.
Okay, so you walked in, stole an interview. What job did you end up applying for, or what position?
I'm sorry, I missed the question. Sound cut off. I'm sorry.
Oh,
What
my
was the
bad.
question?
I was just asking, what position did you end up applying for when you stole that interview?
Oh, it was just entry level. Just entry level. Around
Yeah.
the time I was making around just over the minimum wage line there, but I kept telling Dimitri, I'm worth this much. And he's like, prove it. So I did. So it was very much entry level position. I had something to prove, honestly.
So at that time, I had two locations. It was my first two escape rooms, and I still were working actively in both of them. It just happened, like TJ mentioned, that at that on that day, I had some interviews lined up. So I was physically working in the office and just doing interviews. And he walked in, and yeah, it was an escape room entry position. He impressed me with his presentation. Our escape room little bit different from our competition where we ask people to do introductions and characters. So we're looking for artistic people. We're looking for people who is good with people and acting. And TJ just on the spot, I asked him, "Hey, give me some improvisation of you being." I even remember like how I've been doing interviews, like pretending that you're a teacher and you're doing an introduction as a teacher, and then like, okay, do me introduction as you're a crazy scientist in a zombie lab, or something, and I can see who can pick it up on a spot, and teacher was very good at it. So
Mm.
he was hired literally just a entry position employee. And usually what I like to do with new hires is to test them. So I everyone who I hire, I give them like time to prove themselves, because during the interview, some people can be like great, right? But then time usually shows really quick who they really are. So I never give any like trust or like too much authority at the beginning. It's just I want to show, do you show on time? how customer oriented you are, you know, like how much you take care of the office, like cleaning and, keep it organized when I'm not around. All of these things help me to determine if person, worthy grow with us as a company. And I can tell you, like, over time, people who is not, ready or not interested in growing, who is not interested in to being dedicated with our team the way how it is, it's like naturally they're just gonna leave themselves, or if something crazy happens, they have to fire them. And like in case with TJ, people who is really proving themselves, we just promoting them.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Okay, so TJ, you were you just looking for a job? You said you wouldn't take no for an answer. What was your motivation there? Why did you reach out or steal? I like how you said steal that interview, but why did that happen?
So this goes a ways back with me. So we're going to take a little bit of a detour, but uh, growing up, I was never really a good student in class at all. I didn't have the best marks in high school. I barely got into college. The only reason I got into college for the first time, which insists there's a second time, we'll get to that. But the only reason I got in there on the first try was I had an acting scholarship, full ride, blew it hard. But after that, once again, stubborn, had something to prove. Went back up there, West Virginia, away from Georgia, where I live. It's very cold up there. And ended up second attempt. Not only was I not let back into the school, but I was kicked out of an apartment situation that I was in, and so embarrassed to call my parents and just come home. I decided to spend the rest of the semester just door to door, playing music for pizza, making sure to always do University of Phoenix at a Starbucks, and that was me for 4 months. Got home, had to break it to my parents. I sat nowhere for about 2 years, and after that, you feel a little bit lost in the world. You feel like you don't have any agency or any power, and I will never go back to that part of my life. I would rather play music for money, than to be just lost in my room with nothing. So I finally got back into college, got 4.0 throughout the whole thing because I now had something. I'm not unintelligent. I was just unmotivated. For some things like that, I guess I had to learn the hard way. So when I finally got the second opportunity to get a job and do something right and something that I can do is act, so it's somewhere in my wheelhouse. I just didn't want to be behind a desk. So escape rooms seem to fit just right. Of course, I'm not an owner of an escape room now, but that's where I got my start. My greatest motivation was here in this moment, and I saw opportunity because this was at the time a much smaller business than it was, which means it has room to grow, which means I have more power to make it grow, which means we're growing with it. I'm getting stronger. The business is getting stronger. So yeah, hope that answers some of that.
No, that was a great answer. That is really inspiring too. Um, so you had a lot of pain, and that's what pushed you to take action and jump into, you know, getting in with Dimitri here. But what is it that made you want to grow with Dimitri? Was it Dimitri himself or the mission, or what happened there?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Honestly, it was. I saw that this business could grow, and something I can tell anybody in my time working is to find people and places with opportunity. Start looking at everything as an opportunity. Um, Start looking at all the things that happen that are wrong as opportunities. See what you can change or prevent in the future, so you yourself become stronger. And that's what I saw in this business, because uh, it had such ambition, and Dimitri was a man of his word every single time. So if I said I'm worth $12, we can discuss this in 3 months, and this is what you want to see from all of this. I will take care of all of those things, and if we meet up on that date and all these things have been met and are flourishing, all right, I've earned this much. And we keep moving from there. And it's because of just that guarantee, that little interaction between, because I want to grow and he wants to grow. He needs to get something out of it, right? So that's really where it came from. Just seeing opportunities to grow. If there's no opportunity to grow, then I'm just going to be stagnant, and I can't do that anymore. So it's just that working relationship, that kind of bond that we've um, built based on uh, friendship in that exchange, and just being true to our words and true to ourselves as far as what we need and what we want. I never have to wonder what Dimitri is wanting, because he will just tell me right out. It's like, this does not look good, and I'm like, okay, I got it. I'll fix it, Dimitri.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's
And
awesome.
I want to add something to it. Like what I really love about individuals like TJ, like he just shared his backstory, right? What I loved about him from the get-go is his dedication. Like I honestly, I was kind of intimidated by his energy at sometimes. Like he was telling me, like, "Hey, tell me what to do. I want to do more. Keep telling me. Like if you need me to improve something, just let me know. I'll improve it. If you need me to work like more here or do more of this, he would do it. And honestly, it was so unusual compared to other employees. You know, some employees is just there just to get their hours, right? They don't want to do anything with anything. And again, you learn really quick who is who, right? And so with TJ, it was always motivation. He was always hungry. Like I really like how hungry he was because of his, situation at home, because of his background. It made him hungry. He wanted to grow. He wanted to make more money. He wanted to get, like authority, right, to become assistant manager. So I saw it in his eyes, and I kept testing him and kept testing him and kept testing him. And guess what? Some people would snap and say, it takes too long, or I'm not interested anymore, I'll move on. TG Stick, he believed in me, he believed in our business. And as soon as opportunity came in, I promoted him. And again, I start testing, right? And so it's all game of time and proving. And if the person willing to go, a mile with me, we're just going to keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. And this is exactly what happened with TJ, time after time after time. It's just cool.
I'll add on to that just a little bit as far as on a professional, personal level. I feel as a worker, I call it your weight class. You need to always work on your weight class and make sure that the small things that other people complain about, you knock out in a second. It's not a big deal. You need to take an extra day, sucks. It's fine. But you've done it before. You're strong. You've handled it. Just making sure that you can handle these things, because once you become a business owner, all of that needs to be natural to you. You need to go ahead and just be off the cuff with all of those things. You need to make those hard decisions and take as many bullets as possible. And it is going to be rough and it's going to suck, but you're going to come out much stronger for it and take those opportunities again. And don't get scared of them. You have to push forward, because once again, once you become an owner, that shouldn't be a question. You have to do it. You're on the hook every single time.
Another story, Corey, I want to share with you. So, and it's interesting example and idea for somebody who is trying to work their way up this, ladder in a small company. What TJ did, he literally made himself not changeable, or like I could not basically find another TJ, right? And he made himself in this role where anything I needed, I knew that I have a guy who I can call and he'll do it. And this is like TJ was so smart about it, because as soon as it became obvious that he just grew to my right hand at some point, right? And the funny thing is, we had some other employees who've been longer with the company than TJ, who technically had a role of my right hand, but again, TJ so naturally and very quickly just overgrew them, because again, somebody, you reach out to them, you ask them something to do, they're not available, or there is some other circumstances where they don't want to do it, or they don't know how to do it. TJ were always the guy where I call him, he'll either find the way how to do it, or he'll ask somebody if he doesn't know how to do it, like what to do, and he's always available. And so over time it just became obvious, like he's not anymore normal employee, right? He was just naturally grew to assistant manager, and again at some point, after some time, he naturally grew to the position where I start opening more locations, and I couldn't be at that location. So he became my right hand, and then he became a manager at this location. Again, naturally, it was just so natural progression.
Yeah, I don't think we gave it a name until I was general manager. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that was going to be my next question, is what was that process like? So you started entry level, sounds like you went to general manager next, or was there something in between? And then you
So
moved all the way up to, where are you now?
so at first it was, of course, entry level at the escape room. And of course, I saw a whole bunch of opportunities that I could take at the store and to help it grow. Um, and at this point, it's doing well. Then COVID's around the corner. This is right around the right before COVID, and we just opened an axe throwing place. Dimitri doesn't have a place to a person to watch this store yet, and he knows I can learn quick. So he's like, can you watch this? And I'm like, yes, I'll watch it for you until we get some staff. We start hiring staff. He opens another store that changes into another store, which becomes Spin Art Nation. He's like, I don't have anybody to watch this. Could you watch this? I'm like, yes, I'll watch it. So at this point, I'm watching uh, three stores, working at three stores. Never had three jobs before, but we'll make it work. We have the escape room, we have the axe throwing, and then we have Spin Art. Uh, and I guess at this point that makes me the general manager, right? So at this point we just start calling it that. That's what we are. What we are now. At some point between going from the escape room and axe throwing, I also started learning his downtown escape room location, because somebody gave me the opportunity to do so, and somebody knew that I could learn fast. So it simply became a thing of, am I willing to do it? Of course. All it took was the first step was all it took was, oh, I don't want to show up to work this weekend. I got you. The second one was, I have a very important event. TJ, can you handle it? I don't even work there, but I can do it. I got you. Can you watch the store for axe throwing? Got it. Can you watch the store for spin art? Got it. And it was challenging to balance all of that, but I will never forget the night. It was like the first holiday season where we had opened up spin art. And prior to all of this, me getting raises or promotions it was negotiation. It was me speaking with Dimitri and saying, I want this, give me this. I want this, give me this. So we were absolutely sold out on New Year's. I believe it was New Year's or Christmas. And the only person available was me, to the point where Dimitri had to come in, and I believe we also had HR in.
Oh, I
Watching
remember that. Yeah.
yeah, and we were just new and getting into this, so we don't nearly have the efficiency like we had in the past, like we have now. So we were brand new into this, and we were
And TJ talking about Spin Art, so our paint studio.
hmm yeah. So it was at the end of the night. We're smothered in paint. I'm bent over the front desk, just trying to stay awake. My arms and legs are shaking, and Dimitri is standing next to me, and it's like, let's give you a raise. And that was the first time that it was just like understood. No, this is this guy. he just go ahead and do it. That's he is worth this much. And the amount that I got a raise for was the amount that I quoted him when I first did the interview. That's what I told him I was worth, and on that day he gave me what I was worth at the time when I first started, which means I'm pretty sure I'm a lot more valuable now. So we have this little eye contact thing. All right, that's another challenge. Let's go. We're gonna do big. We're gonna do bigger and better than this after a nap. So, um, but yeah, it's been like that ever since, and that's how I knew that if he was going to be hungry, I was going to be hungry, and we're going to grow big together.
Awesome.
And Corey, I want to add something important here to everyone who is listening, to everyone who is right now being employee. Um, what I really liked about TJ, I'm usually, again, normally reacting slower on promoting people and paying them more money, just because, again, I want first to get deliverables. I want results, and then if you prove it, I'll deliver myself as well. I'll deliver my promise. And TJ was that guy who was always do first, ask for raise later. And I really like that kind of mentality, because again, it makes so much easier to trust person, because he's entrusting in you, and he's like, I'll deliver, and then let's discuss. And he always was doing that, and I always was appreciative. And everyone who is, again, working for employer and you want to grow, this is, I think, the great approach you should take, because then owners gonna trust you so much more, because they see we all there to make money, we all have families, we all have our lives besides work, right? We're all humans. But it's so important to have this approach where, how can I help you to grow the business so we both can benefit? If you're going to have that kind of heart, trust me, you're going to be most valuable employee at your level in your company.
Yeah, and right on top of that, you as a worker, just to make sure that you're not in a trap in this sort of situation, just make sure that the person that you're working for does not move the goalpost. I do have a ask for a raise later mentality on a lot of these things, and during this process, I uh, add on achievements as I go and say, this is once again, this is what I'm worth. This is what these are the facts. Uh, uh, is it worth a raise? Um, and if at any time somebody says, yeah, maybe, but let's talk about it in another 3 months. But you just told me this 3 months. Um, if it's constantly just moving the goalpost back, then you might be in a trap in that situation. So trust is important.
Yeah. So if you are in that kind of situation, here's my suggestion to you, right? As employee, have conversation with your employer and ask them, hey, what should I do? What you expecting me from me? Like, let's say in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, whatever the period of time, let's make a guideline. You need me to do this, this, and this. I need to maybe get extra course, whatever your industry is, and learn something extra in order for me to earn this extra bonus or extra pay. And let's revisit it in, like, let's say 3 months or 6 months. And if I did everything what I said, I'm expecting the raise. It's very fair. And if it's not going to happen, well, then you have two choices, right? Choice number one, just continue waiting, I guess, and hope for the best, or just start looking for better opportunities, right? You can see now that probably your employer is not who you want to work for, and there is nothing wrong with that, right? Because again, you proved yourself, but nothing got delivered. But you have to be honest with yourself. Is that honest that you actually delivered? Because there might be some critique. There's nothing wrong with that. Like if you revisit in 3 months and your employer says, well, listen, you've been late 5 times, 2 times you didn't show to work without any excuse. Um, you know, we had some reports that the place wasn't clean, for example, right? So if there is critique exists, then obviously, you have to keep improving. But if everything have been done and you're honest with yourself and you think that, employer is not being honest, well, probably there is time to move on. You reached your potential there and just start looking for another opportunity.
Now, I'll add one thing to that for those of us watching. I do agree. If you're doing the best to your ability, but it seems like maybe your boss or owner, however your situation's set up, isn't coming through on their end, let them know, right? Not just, oh, you know what, they're not, they don't see my value, so I'm going to leave. Just
No,
go
you
to them,
can.
hey, like, I'm putting blood, sweat, and tears into this company, but honestly, I feel like you're not. Right? I don't know what's going on. Maybe you're having a downtime. Let's work on it. Show that value or go up and above with value to your boss or owner, CEO, whatever their title is. And at that point, if they just end up cussing you out or whatever, sure, leave, whatever.
Yeah. Key to
But
that is
you might
communication.
open their eyes and they might be like, oh, dude, you're right. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
awesome.
It's interesting that you mentioned that on as far as leading. Like I see a lot of times where there's no indicator, no nothing, and just employee puts 2 weeks notice and they leave.
Mm-hmm.
I usually said in this situation when it's a good employee. And I want to let you know so you can understand like my perspective as an owner. If you're valuable employee, it's so hard to find valuable employee. And so if you found a better opportunity potentially where again economy changes on a daily basis, right? And if you see that economy changes, and for example, I'm kind of a little bit out of it, especially right now with so many offices in a different states. I honestly, I might be missing completely what's the wages, let's say in Chicago or in like another state, right? But if you're valuable, bring it, and you most importantly, you like what you do, why would you quit the job that you already know? You already know other employees. You know who is the owners, and you like the job. Why would you just quit because you're not getting something instead of raising your voice and just having human to human communication? Just okay, if you don't have access to the owner directly, send email to HR or send email or talk to your manager who is your direct manager and ask, hey, I think I'm doing a good job. I would like to have a review of my performance because I'm seeing like company A, B, and C like advertise online, for example, and I see that they're offering so much more. It's fair request, you know, and we'll have conversation, we'll review it together, and we'll decide like, hey, well, at this time maybe I cannot increase it for that much, but we see your performance, and yes, you're probably right. Okay, so how about we increase it for this much, or we had increased like let's say 3 months ago, so it's too early, but let give you a few tasks to do. Can you complete this and this in the next 3 months? And if you achieve it, I'll gladly do increase. So there's always room for communication, for room for negotiation, and this is again you grow with the company.
Right. Yeah, there are so many different reasons why people could do that. Could be mentality, could be, you know, programming from early life.
Mm-hmm.
There's no telling what it is. But if you're watching this and you feel like that, Dimitri just told you, like he's a business owner. He's a founder of multiple businesses here. Reach out, just talk to him, right? And then, like I said, if they don't work with you, maybe it's time for you to leave. But at least exhaust all your options first,
Shoot
right?
your shot.
Awesome. Well, I do want to ask. So we have TJ. You have under there Axemaster Grayson owner. Um, explain how that process went from working under Dimitri to now being a, I guess, partner or co-owner with him, and how you got to that business, that physical brick and mortar business.
So around the time where I had gotten what I first quoted, Dimitri, I explained my story like I explained to you guys where I come from and why I work so hard. And he loved the story as well. And he pitched the idea of, imagine in the future, once I open up a few more stores, that'll be a great story to tell. Lo and behold, we're here today. But and I said, yeah, this will be a great story to tell. So let's make it happen. So we made it happen. We looked for a few stores local in Georgia. We now have three Axmaster locations. Well, and the third one is the one that I bought. I like the location for the third one, and I told him that this is it. This is the one that I want to work on. It is a challenge growing every single day, but I wouldn't take that back at all. We just saw the opportunity. We made the opportunity happen. We, I guess, spoke it into existence because it's something that we both wanted. I had no problem at the time working at an axe storing place. I thought it was a pretty fun job. It was, of course, with heavy responsibility like any business, but I liked what I did. So sure, yeah, I just hopped for it. I wasn't going to open anything else anytime soon, right? And I had the money because I'd been saving up, almost in particular to do this, just in case I happen to come across a business that I can just get into. And what better business than one that I've with a person that I've grown with for the past few years, somebody that I can trust now. So I know that he doesn't want to fail. I don't want to fail. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to succeed in one way, shape, or form. And you can't buy that. You almost can't just pick that off of a street or just see an ad and just pay for something. That's something that you can't buy. Just that working relationship. But if you do see an opportunity and you think you can pull it off, go for it. Just be ready for it.
And I can tell you how it came to existence. So um, I started basically talking to TJ, and I'm talking to other managers at other locations as well, and explaining like, hey, uh, where you at, where you want to be, like let's say in 3, 5 years, because they see that again, I'm opening multiple locations in different markets, and I'm always letting them know, hey guys, start saving. You're making money, uh, but it's not end of the world. So there's other opportunities, right, to make so much more if you're going to become an owner, right? So I tell them, don't waste the potential you're already getting. Don't, save a little bit every time, a little bit every month. So when the opportunity comes, I'll present it to you guys. And this is what happened with TJ. I presented him another opportunity before, and he was not ready. He said, "Oh, he didn't like it, or he was not ready." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll pass." And I was like, "Okay, totally fine." So then again, another opportunity came in our town, and I presented to him again. Hey, here's another business I'm planning to buy, and so usually I'm opening businesses from scratch, but this particular business I bought, right? And so I told him, "Hey, I'm planning to buy this business for so much money. If you have funds available ready, tell me how much you want to invest. I'll just give you, proportionate amount of the business." And so he said, yes, I have that much. Let's work together. Let's do it. And this is how it came to existence. And I always my goal to get all of my employees at some point of time at their market to become my partners, to become owners, to open their own stores, or when we buy in a store. The reason why I love to work with the partners instead of employees, because partners is so much more dedicated. Like you cannot buy that with the money. Person who has vested interest, who literally spend their money, not only their labor, but the money. They so much more interested in making business much more profitable, right? I would rather have 20% of the business that makes $1 million versus having 100% of the business that makes 10,000. And there is no way to achieve it for me being in Atlanta, Georgia, in a market, let's say in, right? I cannot be there physically. So it's best way for me to just entrust somebody and have partner who I know I can trust, who we can grow the business together with. This is my mentality, and this is what I'm preaching to all our employees. Right now, we have, I think, over 150 employees in 5 different states, and every single one of them has opportunity to invest with me, either in the local market where they are, or they are. This is what I usually prefer because again, they see the business, they work in that business. But in the meantime, I'll give them opportunity to invest in me in another market where I'm just, I'm opening something new, let's say in Las Vegas or Miami or like somewhere else. I'll give them this opportunity to start growing and working and earning some, dividends at the business together.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, that's great. I really appreciate all the information and hearing your story, TJ. I do want to move to what is something or some advice that you could give to someone who's looking to start in a business or they want to get to where you're at?
Put yourself in the conversation. Put yourself in the conversation every single time. Um, my father used to tell me a lot, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard this saying: uh, if you hang out with three millionaires, you'll be the fourth. So if you're having dinner with people who have been there, who have been around the block and have owned several businesses, eventually you might own one of your own. You know, that start having conversations with those people, so those opportunities that you're looking for are ever present whenever you're ready for it, and you have plenty of people to talk to. So network, network, network. Put yourself in the conversation, and just have dinners with these people. Talk to them. They're just people. So that is probably the biggest advice. Next to get your weight class up and be ready to take on a business, because it's a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end because then you've built it on your muscle and it's great.
Awesome. And Dimitri, what about you? What advice would you give?
Invest in yourself. So learn by implementing the, normal work at your position, but then also read books, watch podcasts, uh, even podcasts like this, right? It's great information. Buy books of Robert Kiyosaki, some other smart people who has books. I mean, there's abundance of knowledge on YouTube, right? So keep developing yourself. Now, also join local groups. Like if you want to open brick and mortar in the future, start following people who organizes some events for business owners. There is a free business mixers happening in all major cities, like at least once a month. If you want to grow in the real estate industry, well, join local RIA, Real Investors Club. In most cases, it's free or it costs like very little. Corey, you yourself in a subject to community,
Mhm.
join subject to community in your city. So always keep growing. And like TJ mentioned, start following the people who is makers, who is doing stuff, who is own businesses, who is own real estate, and start following them. Try to get in front of them, have conversations. This is going to help you to grow and mentally get ready. Once the opportunity will present themselves, you're going to be mentally ready, and then start saving. Don't waste your money on stupid subscriptions. Don't waste your money on fast food. You know, invest in your health. You know, this is the things I suggest. And so when the opportunity is going to be right, you need to have money, you need to have mental readiness, and everything will work out.
Awesome. That's good advice. Before we close this up, is there anything else y'all want to share with the audience?
Well, you can book me at Axemaster Grayson at axemaster.com/Grayson. Look us up on TikTok. I'm pretty. Are we going to plug that? Want me to plug that?
Yeah, I'll pull up. I know you got your Instagram here.
Oh, that's my ID. Absolutely. And Axemaster Grayson, all one word for TikTok. And find your local axe throwing place. Have some fun. Hopefully, it's me, and I'll see you soon. Yeah.
Same
Awesome.
thing. If you wanna connect with me, find me on Facebook. It's gonna be published there, and just contact me, send me a message, and I'll be happy to talk to you. And we're always looking for new integrators. We're always looking for partners. If you're looking for job opportunity, again, we have offices right now in 5 different states. So reach out to me. We're looking for people who is hungry. We're looking for people who is, who can help us to change the industry.
Awesome. Well, guys, that's all I've got for you. I really appreciate y'all coming out and giving your story and talking about your experience and all that stuff.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna send you back and close this thing up. Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, that's today's show. Like I said, this is a special episode. We did a collaboration with Spin Art Nation and Axemaster and all that stuff, obviously. So it's been great. I learned a lot. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you got a lot of value from it. And if this isn't your cup of tea, right? If you're not looking to get into business, that's cool. There is still stuff to learn from people in business. So hope you got a lot out of it. I hope that you like and subscribe this video. Come back next week. We're probably going to do a couple more of these just special episodes. They're not set on any day coming out. It'll just come out when they're recorded. So until next time, hope you have a wonderful day.